So Teofimo Lopez has never ever lost to a southpaw. This weekend, though, he fights Shakur Stevenson, who, let's be honest here, arguably right now is the best southpaw in boxing. Arguably right now is the best defensive boxer in the sport. I think there are many people who are misreading this. Obviously, yes, Tio has never ever lost to a southpaw. In the amateurs, never lost to a southpaw. In the pros, never lost to a southpaw. Beaten one of the best southpaws to ever do it in Vasily Lomachenko. That has got to be said. But I think that this is a very different fight to that. It's a very different fight. Styles make fights, and that is what matters here, not the fact that Shakur Stevenson is just a southpaw. Styles make fights. Let's get right into it now, then, because, look, the big reason why I think a lot of people have such high belief in Tio is because of the fact he's never lost to a southpaw. But I think there are interesting things to say because, again, as I said, it's not a style analysis. It's not. Styles make fights. And yes, Teofimo Lopez has beaten top level southpaws, elite level southpaws, but he's never seen someone with the style of Shakur Stevenson. I don't think he's ever seen anyone as defensively good as Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson executes being a southpaw in a very different way to what Lomachenko does, in a very different way to what Josh Taylor does. I think that's very important here because there are all different kinds of southpaws, all different kinds. And Shakur Stevenson as a southpaw, I think, has got the worst possible style for Teofimo Lopez to be able to deal with. And look, we all know Teofimo Lopez has beaten a solid elite defensive southpaw before in Lomachenko, but I don't think he's seen someone with as good of a defense as Shakur Stevenson. You've got Lomachenko, who brings much more offensiveness to the game than what Shakur Stevenson does as a southpaw. Teofimo Lopez dealt with him. Look, and Loma probably had issues of his own in that fight. I think everyone knows that. Either way, he beat him, dominated the fight, and outclassed him. Shakur Stevenson will win this fight by just being defensively minded, being too defensively good, and picking his counter shots too often. I think the issue when Josh Taylor fought Teofimo Lopez, I think he just engaged too much. I just think he made so many offensive mistakes in that fight, which are mistakes that Shakur Stevenson won't make. As I said, because Shakur Stevenson's so good defensively, it helps him pick his offensive moments even smarter and makes him pick his shots even better, makes him even more accurate. Because Shakur throws when he knows he's going to land again. He's a very accurate puncher, not a volume puncher, very accurate puncher. And again, he's not known to be a big hitter, Shakur, but when he lands, it's clean, it's effective. He moves off, he uses his footwork nicely. And I think a big thing here in this fight, which Teofimo Lopez has seen against southpaws like Loma, like Josh Taylor is, they both gave him a lot of counter opportunities at mid-range. And that is what Teofimo Lopez thrives off. See, he thrives off those counter opportunities against southpaws, leading that straight, big right hand down the pipe, which he can catch those southpaws off guard with a counter. But Shakur Stevenson doesn't give him those counter opportunities whatsoever. It's not going to happen. Tio thrives off reactions. Shakur Stevenson is going to be mixing in a load of ridiculously unpredictable things. He's he's going to be touching him a lot with that elite hand, making Teofimo Lopez be the one to initiate, and Shakur being able to counter him very, very smartly, and Teofimo Lopez won't see it coming. And I feel like a big thing here as well is I feel like Shakur Stevenson will be racking up rounds, and I don't think Teofimo Lopez is even going to know that. I think Teofimo Lopez is going to be, thinking he's taking rounds because of, pressure, but Shakur Stevenson will be landing the sneakier shots and will just be sneaking past in these rounds. And again, Tio's not going to notice. Tio is not going to notice it. Again, I think the footwork battle is going to be interesting. When Shakur ever lost a footwork battle, it hasn't happened. Again, you can think back like when DeLoma ever lose a footwork battle. Didn't happen before he saw Tio. But again, I think Shakur Stevenson constantly resetting, constantly moving around with his footwork, I think is just going to be killing Teofimo Lopez's rhythm. Going to be absolutely killing it because he's not going to give him the engagement that he wants. Shakur is not giving, he's just never going to be giving Tio the engagement that he wants in this fight. And, Teofimo Lopez, he is a guy who thrives off rhythm. He is a rhythm fighter. Shakur Stevenson is not going to be giving him that momentum. He's not. He's very good at stopping guys' momentum. And I feel like the Williams Zepeda fight is a very good example of that. The amount of punches that Williams Zepeda throws in his fights, ridiculous amount of punches per round, hundreds, honestly. And Shakur Stevenson completely took away his rhythm, completely took away his momentum, frustrated him, didn't let him throw what he wanted to throw. Took that away from it. That it's elite level stuff what was he was able to do there. And I feel like if he can shut down a rhythm like that, then I feel like he can shut down the rhythm of Teofimo Lopez. That is what I think can happen because, again, styles make fights. I think, again, Tio's got power in exchanges, and he's always had that at lightweight. He's always had that super lightweight. When he's fighting guys like, when he fought Lomachenko, when he fought Josh Taylor, he always had the momentum, and he always had the power. But again, he's gonna have that here, but he's not getting that same success. There's no way he does. Shakur wins rounds quietly. He doesn't get loud moments or anything like that. And again, as I said, he's going to win rounds, and Tio is not even going to know it. I don't think the fact that Teofimo Lopez is really good at dealing with southpaws, and again, it can play into effect. But I honestly don't think it's going to matter as much because stylistically, Shakur is something that he's not seen.